Assalamu alaikum.
And today I want to share with you a story that's been mentioned in the past. A story from the stories of Bani Israel, in which the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, Hadithu an Bani Israel wa la haraj. Narrate the stories of Bani Israel without any harm. And this story is the story of Barseesa, in which connects to the topic that we are talking about today. How the shaitan seduces you and manipulates you to do haram, and he starts with minor steps and then eventuates to be major sins. Barseesa, a great abid, a great worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the previous nations, the nation of Bani Israel. He was respected, he was honored, he was held in high esteem. It was Barseesa. If people wanted to speak about righteousness, they'll mention Barseesa. If people wanted to speak about piety, they'll mention Barseesa. It's Barseesa. You want an advice? Go and speak to Barseesa. You want to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Go and seek advice from Barseesa. It is Barseesa. And Barseesa worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for 70 years. Ongoing worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Regular worship, and regularly in the state of worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal. 70 years, you could imagine 70 years worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal in a temple, in a place of worship, just always and constantly in that temple worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one day the test comes where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to test Barseesa. No one is free from that test. No one is free from that test. Not me, not you, not none. Every single one of us is open and prone to that test. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to test you until that moment that you meet him. So now, 3 righteous brothers, during the time of Barseesa, who wanted to embark on a journey, and some narrations say who wanted to embark on a journey of jihad, to go and fight in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they were held up. They were held up because they had a sister that they needed to take care of. But at the same time, they wanted to please Allah Azza wa Jal and go out in the journey of jihad to fight in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal. If they die, they enter the Jannah. If not, they are victorious and they earn the rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But their hold up was their sister. They needed a safe place for them to put the sister at. They thought about it, they discussed it amongst each other, and they said the only person that we could resort to is Barseesa. So let's go and speak to Barseesa. He's the righteous, trustworthy, honorable, pious and upright person. Let's go to Barseesa. So they went to Barseesa. Oh Barseesa, we want to embark on the journey of jihad, but we are held up because of our sister. We've got nowhere safe for us to put our sister out. Would you be kind enough to take care of our sister, because you are the only trustworthy person that we can trust? Initially at the beginning, Barseesa said no. He was hesitant. I'm too busy in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I can't afford to waste any time and take care of people to the end of it. So he declined at the beginning. No. But after pressure from those 3 righteous brothers, Barseesa want to do something for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. We want to fight for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want to uphold the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. But our sister's holding us back, and you are the only solution in making this possible. But Barseesa continued to decline. Then he thought about it, and after pressure he gave in. He said, but subject to, you build a small house for her next to my temple, and there's no interaction, no connection. It's haram. I can't see her or sit down with her without a mahram. It's haram. I fear Allah Azza wa Jal. I am Barseesa. I'm the righteous man Barseesa. And subhanallah, see how shaitan started? Started with what? The facade. The appearance is good. Shaitan always starts with something very good from the very beginning. He gives you something very delightful, something very honorable. Look at us, alhamdulillah, I could worship Allah Azza wa Jalla through this. But then the end goal is evil. Shaitan, never ever think for a second that shaitan wants goodness for you. Even if he shows you and proposes to you or gives you something that looks very good, reject it. So Barseesa gave in. And then the brothers embarked on that journey in fighting in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they built, before their journey, before their departure, they built a small house next to the temple of Barseesa, for Barseesa to take care of their sister. And now they go. And Barseesa's left with this young lady, this young woman, the sister of this righteous man, who are willing to sacrifice their life for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they indeed, righteous people embarking on a journey of jihad, without a doubt these people are sacrificing an ultimate sacrifice. And now Barseesa, he's very observant, very cautious, doesn't want to commit any haram. He knows, mixing with the opposite gender and what the shaitan can do, as the Prophet Muhammad says, if there's a strange man with a strange woman by themselves in an isolated place, and there's no third party, especially a mahram, the shaitan is the third one amongst them. So Barseesa was very cautious at the very beginning. And Barseesa was very caring because he wanted to do a favor. He wanted to pay that favor. He wanted to do a favor for those righteous people who are fighting in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal. So initially he'll take the food and make sure that he puts the food on the doorstep, knocks on the door and walks away. A'udhu billah, I can't speak to this woman. And then day after day, shaitan started to come and manipulate him. Whisper, wiswas, put in his mind, Barseesa, you are taking care of this poor lady, you are taking care of this sister of this righteous man, but it's not enough. Maybe she's sick, maybe she's ill, maybe she needs something. Just putting the food there is not good enough. Just leaving the food there and walking away. Maybe she needs something. Maybe she needs someone. Maybe she needs someone to speak to. Maybe she needs something and she's too embarrassed or shy to speak to you. Why don't you at least knock on the door next time and speak to her? So he did that. Initially, he resisted that. Now, a'udhu billah, this can open other doors. Shaitan, when he comes, my brothers in Islam, knocks on the door. Doesn't expect you to open the door, but all you have to do is just attend to that door and that's good enough for him. And that's exactly what happened to Barseesa. And that's exactly what happens to a lot of us. So now after Shaitan or Iblis whispering and manipulating Barseesa for him to attend to this poor lady, to the sister of those righteous mujahideen or righteous brothers who went on a jihad journey, he knocked on the door this time. After, in the past, he'll make sure just leaves the food there on the doorstep and then he walks away. But this time he knocked on the door and said, Assalamu alaikum, how are you? Is there anything that I can assist you with? And she replied. And that soft, sweet voice entered the heart and the mind of Barseesa, that Barseesa went home thinking about that beautiful sweet voice. Thinking about it. And this is a righteous man. Never been near any woman in his past. Been worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the last 70 years. In the state of worship. If people wanted to speak about righteousness, they'll mention Barseesa. If people wanted to speak about obedience to Allah Azza wa Jal, they'll mention Barseesa. Now Barseesa for the first time interacts with a woman by listening to her. And then he walks away. And I'm not saying here that the voice of a woman awra or any of that. But the situation, the circumstance here, being alone, she's got no guardians, and he's on his own. And then Barseesa thinks about this beautiful sweet voice of this poor lady that's been left behind. She's got no one there. She can be the perfect prey by the shaitan. But then Barseesa started to resist her and say, no way, I can't commit something haram. There's no way I'm going to do something that will disobey Allah Azza wa Jal. But then, time and time again, and shaitan whispering in the mind of Barseesa, no, you need to check up on her. That's not good enough. You've been entrusted with this trust. Her brothers are fighting in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You need to be there for them and you need to be there for their sister. Speaking to her is not good enough. You need to sit down and check up on her. Maybe there's something that she wants to speak to you about, but she's shy. You need to break that barrier. No, at the beginning, Barseesa is resisting, this is haram, no, I can't disobey Allah Azza wa Jal, this will open other doors. But at the end, Barseesa gave in. And then he sat down with her. And then he looked at her. First, there was no contact. Second, he heard her voice. Third, he looked at her. But a'udhu billah, I can't touch. A'udhu billah, I can't do anything that's haram. He just looked at her and walked away. And all night thinking about this beautiful face and this sweet voice of this poor lady, that she has no one to protect her, no one to look after her. And then Barseesa started to think about it. You know what? I need to engage with her more. Maybe she needs something. Maybe she's shy for her to tell me what she needs. Let me sit down with her more and more. So he sat down with her, spoke to her, looked at her, touched her, and then eventually he committed the haram with her. Fornicated. Wal-'iyadhu billah. Barseesa, The man of righteousness and piety now commits haram, zina, wal-'iyadhu billah. Yes, he did. And not only that, she fell pregnant. This is a disaster for Barseesa. Barseesa is the man with the reputation. He's the man of honor and respect. People flock to Barseesa from far away just to check up on Barseesa or even speak to Barseesa and seek an advice from Barseesa. Now Barseesa is that criminal that had committed the haram. Now Barseesa is thinking about it. This lady is a sister of righteous people and she's pregnant. And if her brothers come back and find out, they're going to say, where did this child come from? Shaitan is telling Barseesa, what are you going to do, Barseesa? You've been working so hard to earn a very good reputation. Now you've destroyed it. Once these brothers come back and they'll find out what you've done, you're gone. It's the end of you. So Shaitan came to Barseesa and whispered in his mind, you know what? You need to maintain your reputation, Barseesa. You're a righteous man. Fi Allah Azza wa Jalla, Barseesa. What did you do? And who's behind all this? Shaitan. But we give in. At the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had limited what the shaitan can do to us. Nothing more than insinuation, nothing more than whispering. So Barseesa started to think about it. What am I going to do? I'm stuck. I got myself into this mess. What am I going to do? So shaitan gave him an idea. Go and kill her. Go and kill her. Get rid of her. And then when the brothers return back from their journey and they ask you about their sister, just say to them she fell sick, she was so ill, and she passed away. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He thought about it. You know what? I've already committed a major sin. Might as well fall into another major sin. See the tricks of the shaitan? He starts you off with something small, then something big, and then it becomes a domino effect, a ripple effect. You continue falling into more major sins. Okay, since I've done it the first time, I might as well do it the second time. I've done it twice, I'll do it 4 times. I've done it 4 times, I'll do it 10 times. I've done it 10 times, you know what? It becomes easy to do it 100 times. And that's exactly what happens to us. From a sin to another sin. But at the very beginning, no way, a'udhu billah. But then it eventuates to committing a sin over another sin. Now Barseesa is stuck. He thought about it. The only way out of this mess, the only way out of this disaster that he had put himself in is for him to kill this poor lady and bury her. And when the brothers come back, she fell sick, she was ill, she passed away. I'm sorry to tell you that and break the bad news to you. I buried her, salamu alaikum, thank you very much, end of it. And then Barseesa can continue with his normal righteous life. So he did that. From a fornicator to a murderer. And he murdered a pregnant woman, and some narrations say she even delivered birth to that child, and he also murdered him and he buried her. Over the course of time, the 3 brothers returned back from their journey. The first thing they wanted to do is to go and check up on their sister that they missed. Coming to this house, entering this house, sister, where are you? There's no one there. Okay, let's go and ask Barseesa. Barseesa, where's our sister? Look, I'm sorry to tell you the bad news. She passed away. From what? She fell sick, she was very ill, and she died from the illness, so I buried her, and Azzam Allah Azrakum. I convey my condolences to you. Alhamdulillah. We just went and fought in the path of Allah Azza wa Jalla. We surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's qadr. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's divine destiny here, so we have to adhere to that. We can't object. If Allah Azza wa Jalla wanted our sister to die from an illness, then let it be. But that night, they slept. And they had a vision, they had a dream. And subhanallah, amazingly, and by coincidence, each one of them had the exact same dream. What was that dream? Each one of them saw in their dreams that their sister was buried at a particular place with a baby next to her. The following morning, the older brother wanted to mention this to his 2 other brothers, but he was hesitant. You know, it's not a nice dream for you to even relate or even mention to your brothers. So he said, look, I saw this dream yesterday, but I'm just reluctant, hesitant to share it with you. So they said, no, please, because we also saw something very disturbing, but we were also reluctant and hesitant to mention it to you. So he said, yesterday I saw in the dream such. Our sister was buried with a child next to her, and she was murdered. You could see the action of murder and slaughter on her neck and she was buried at this such place. The second one seconded it, and he said, you know what? Yes, I saw the exact same dream. And the third one said, yes, that's exactly what I saw. Come on, that can't be by coincidence. There's got to be something from behind this. You know what? Let's go to Barseesa. They went to Barseesa. Barseesa, tell the truth. Give in. Don't lie. 3 of us saw the exact same dream. So they went to the grave, dug it up, and they saw their sister being slaughtered and a child next to her. Barseesa, what's this? Don't lie. Say the truth. So Barseesa gave in and he said, look, I'll be honest with you. That's what happened. 1, 2, 3. I interacted with her unlawfully. I committed the zina with her. She fell pregnant. I was afraid and petrified. When you return, you find out what I've done. I've got a reputation for me to preserve and protect, and I had to do this action. Well, you have to pay the price. Go to the judge, go to the ruler. Well, his judgment is, and the verdict, retaliation. You killed, you get killed in return. Now Barseesa stuck. He got himself in a very deep and ugly mess. Who comes to him? Shaitan again. Wal-'iyadhu billah. Comes to Barseesa and he tells him, Barseesa, you know who I am? I am Shaitan. You know who I am? I am Shaitan. I'll got you in this mess, and you know what? I'll take you out of this mess. Look, Ya Barseesa, you are the righteous man, Barseesa, that people always praise and speak of. You are the honorable Barseesa that people, when they speak about righteousness and piety, they mention your name. I'll got you in this mess, and I can take you out of this mess. So Barseesa said, please, anything but to come out of this mess. He said, subject to one condition. You do one thing for me, and I'll take you out of this mess. Barseesa is in a situation you could imagine. And at the end of the day, it's not Shaitan that put him in that mess. He put himself in that mess with his own actions. You can't blame the Shaitan, you blame yourself. Because that's what Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Qur'an Kareem. So Barseesa said, yes, please take me out of this mess. Look what I got myself in. Please take me out of this mess. So he said, do one thing for me and I'll take you out of this mess. What is it? He said, prostrate to me. Make sajda for me and I'll take you out of this mess. Barseesa thinking about it. I'm going to make sajda to the enemy of Allah and the enemy of Islam. I'm going to make sajda to this creation of Allah Azza wa Jalla. What happened to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But thinking about it, he's in a very, very deep mess that he needs to save himself. He needs to salvage his reputation here. So he thought about it and thought about it. He said, okay, I'll prostrate to you, but you'll take me out of this mess. So Shaitan said, rest assured that I'll take you out of this mess. So Barseesa prostrated to the Shaitan, and Shaitan told him, goodbye, walked away. He was crucified, killed, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَمَثَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِذْ قَالَ لِلْإِنسَانِ اكْفُرْ. The example of the Shaitan when he told the man, disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلَمَّا كَفَرَ قَالَ إِنِّي بَرِيءٌ مِّنْكَ إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهَ رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. When he disbelieved in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Shaitan said, I fear Allah, the Lord of the universe. Shaitan, my brothers in Islam, drags you, tows you, step after step, from something small to something bigger to something major, and then it's the end of you. We all know the Shaitan. I don't have to lecture you of the Shaitan and tell you about the Shaitan and the evilness of the Shaitan. That's something we all grew up with. But our problem is, why do we listen to the Shaitan? Why? When we all know the Shaitan wants to destroy us. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين.
We are one ummah who should stand with each other through all the highs and lows.